me tonight is Nicole.
Hi.
And Mama Kay.
Hey, everyone.
And coming back from Oppenheimer podcast, it's Griffin once again.
Hi,
Yo,
Griffin.
what up, everyone?
Hey, G.
Jess still in Texas, so Griffin coming in for the second half of the biggest weekend of movie going of the year. That's Barbie. We're talking about Barbie now. Greta Gerwig's Barbie, co-written with her husband Noah Baumbach, Margot Robbie Barbie, Ryan Gosling Ken, 5,000 other actors, you know. If you're not in Oppenheimer, you're in Barbie. So I don't know who wasn't working. I guess Tom Cruise is in the other one. But Barbie. We've heard of that before, right? We know what that is. It's a little doll. If you dress her up, she has a lot of careers.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, she does.
She's a strong independent.
Do you ever play with Barbies? Anybody here? Okay, Nicole, Griffin?
I'll go first. I never had a Barbie growing up. It's very sad. I had a friend, though, who had a whole giant shed in her backyard full of every Barbie thing you can imagine. She had the jet, she had the camper, she had the jet ski, all the things.
A shed of Barbies.
It was a shed of
That sounds kinda
Barbies. It was
scary.
Barbieville, and it was fucking magical. I'm telling
That's
you.
how you measure Barbies. You measure them by the shed.
I just imagine you put in like a shed in the backyard and then you open it. It's just a bunch of Barbie dolls falling out of it.
It sounds like you're saying a shit of Barbies. I
A
believe you say a shed.
A shed. It was a shed load of
Could be a
Barbies.
shed.
It was a shed load of Barbies. Okay.
Yes.
Nicole, did you ever have the Barbies growing up?
I have a couple memories. I was not a Barbie girl. However, my sister was a Barbie girl, and she
In a Barbie
had
world.
the airplane. She had a house. She had all the little fixins. I know my mom was a Barbie girl, and I remember her telling me when she moved to college, my grandparents got rid of all of her Barbies. So, or when she went and left home,
Right.
they got rid of all of her
Tragedy.
Barbies. So those would probably be worth a lot of money now. So I'm a little upset about that. And my biggest memory of Barbie was getting the Millennium Barbie in the year 2000. I would have been 7 years old at that time. And my mom got me and my sister the Millennium Barbies in her blue snowflake sparkly gown, and we weren't allowed to open them and play with them. So they're still in the box at my mom's house. But yeah, that was kind of my extent of the Barbie kingdom.
That's a whole thing to talk about too, about buying things that you can't, that
Yep.
you're not allowed to open.
We've got the Cabbage Patch dolls from some milestone of life, and we have the Millennium Barbie.
I feel like we have a Star Wars thing still in a package somewhere. So
Probably.
same kind of thing.
I was
Sad.
a Lego man myself. No Barbies.
Yeah, but you opened them all.
What do you mean I opened them? Of course I opened them all.
Right.
I'm just saying I didn't play with Barbies. I can't relate to the core premise of the people, but still interested. Barbie suffers a crisis that leads her to question her
Wait,
world.
you didn't ask me if I
and-
played Barbie.
I did actually.
Yeah.
I asked everybody.
Oh,
I asked
did you?
everyone at the beginning. You guys
And
play.
you
I
didn't
didn't
speak
single
up,
you out.
but-
You didn't say anything. But
Well, I was
did you
gonna
play with
say I did.
Barbies? Did you-
I didn't. No.
Oh, womp womp.
You didn't have a friend that had a shed full of Barbies?
No, it's shit. I'm full of Barbies. Actually.
Barbie suffers a crisis that leads her to question her world and her existence. This has a 90% Rotten Tomatoes, 87 with the audience, 7.5 on IMDb. So high scores, just like the other one we did.
Wow. It doesn't sound like it's up with the other one. I'm just saying. It sounds a little lower.
You are correct by the scores. It is slightly about a 1 point lower on IMDb and a few points lower on Rotten Tomatoes. But it also did gross 150 million more at the box office, 337 million worldwide, which is quite a bit.
I think it was a record breaker, right?
It is the highest for a female directed film of all time, beating out Wonder Woman and co-directed films Frozen 2 and Captain Marvel, which are co-directed by a man and a woman. So this beat all of them. So congratulations, Greta and Mattel. So if you haven't seen the Barbie movie, it's got good reviews, it's making all the money, and it's got all the people. I guess I should do the cast thing too, like I did for Oppenheimer. I'll do the same thing here. Margot Robbie, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, Alexandra Shipp, Emma McKay, Hari Neff.
Sorry?
Did you say Shipp McKay?
Alexandra Shipp, Emma McKay. That's why it sounded like Ship McKay. Or the Ship Emma.
That's what it sounded like.
Dua Lipa, Nicola Coughlan, Met Narrative, Marissa Belle, Lucy Bonneton as the Barbies, Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, Kingsley Ben-Adir, Scott Evans, John Cena, Rob Brydon, Tom Storton as the Kens.
Michael Cera.
Yeah, woo.
Yes, Michael Cera
Not a Ken.
as he's not a Ken.
Ken.
Yeah, Michael Cera also in with America Ferrera, Ariana Greenblatt, Rhea Perlman, Helen Mirren as the narrator, and William Ferrell. So, if you haven't seen Barbie, I did it all. So, in theaters, go do it. And we're going to spoil it here now. Stereotypical Barbie is the moniker of Margot Robbie's character. She is a resident of Barbie Land, the matriarchal society, self-sufficient, self-confident, successful, run by women, while the Ken counterparts do just random recreational activities. They like beach. And one day Barbie has kind of a bit of an existential moment and begins to question mortality. She starts to think the things are not quite going right in her Barbie world. She wakes up and her routine is a little off. She notices she has cellulite. Her feet go flat. No heels. No good. So she has to go to Weird Barbie to figure out what's going on. Weird Barbie is Kate McKinnon. Makes sense. And according to Weird Barbie, she has to go to the real world to figure out who the little girl is that's playing with her on the other end and figure out what's going on with her because she's clearly sad or something's going on. And if you want to go back to perfect life, that's what you got to do. So she goes towards the real world. Ken hitches a ride, main Ken, beach Ken, Ryan Gosling Ken, and so the two of them are in the real world, and I think I'll leave it there, because then it kind of continues on. I'll go in the same order, too. Mama Kay, kick us off with Barbie. What'd you think of it?
Well, Barbie, first I have to tell you about, so everybody's all Barbenheimer, correct? That's what this has been called this whole weekend. So the night before I saw Oppenheimer, I went to a concert, Matchbox 20 concert.
Oh my God. You went to a Matchbox 20 concert before seeing Barbie? Did you know?
I knew about this off podcast.
I did not know.
Oh, so, that's got to add to this quite a bit.
That's why I am now calling this either Barbenheimer 20 or Match Barbenheimer, because it really does go. So we're at this concert. There's a rain delay, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Rob Thomas talks to the crowd a lot, sings a song, and then all of a sudden he says, throwing that one out there to Rob Thomas or to Ryan Gosling. And I was like, I turned to your dad and I was like, what? Why? Why would he dedicate a song to Ryan Gosling? Why?
Oh,
so, see Oppenheimer the next night. There is no light shed on this, surprisingly, from the Oppenheimer movie. But I go to the Barbie movie the next day, and apparently the anthem of Kendom is the song Push, which is by Matchbox 20.
Yes.
So I went one step further than probably most people did on this particular weekend.
You went above the grade.
I did. So I feel like whatever I have to say holds more water than any of my other hosts because of this.
Oh, I don't know. I was just in Hiroshima the other day, so I have pretty good authority. Yeah. Anyway, what'd you think of the film, though? Other than you're cooler than everybody.
It was an unexpected cool, is what I really liked about it. The best kind. Yeah. So, going into Barbie, totally different theater experience than going into Oppenheimer, as you can imagine. It was it was very giggly. There was a lot of loud. Your dad was the only male in there over the age of probably 30, because there was a couple of guys who brought their little girls to the movie, and there were empty seats next to him until the movie started, and then all of a sudden these two girls walk in, Bible, dressed identical like Barbie, and sat down next to him. And it was almost the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Very
Little white shorts, little pink halter tops, and Barbie hair and Barbie shoes. And I was like, yes, this is amazing.
Did they have? It would have been funny if there was those little girls came in here and then they have all that stuff on, and on the front is just a picture of Oppenheimer.
And then they just sat in the movie with a.
And they're like,
really
"Oh man,
grimace
this
look
isn't
on
what
their
we thought."
face.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the wrong movie. Oh my god. But Barbie the movie, a lot came out about this. I was watching all of the red carpet. I was not ever having a Barbie, so not really ever living in that world. I wasn't super hype about it. But the way that they were marketing it was really pushing me toward it. And I knew I was going to have to see it anyway. So I enjoyed the Barbie movie.
Oh, interesting way to say that. Very
Really?
interesting way to say that.
I enjoyed the Barbie movie.
Enjoyed the Barbie movie.
More than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be a little, I don't know, just a little too fey for me, just a little but interesting, especially knowing that I would be contrasting it with another movie that I had seen the night before. I kind of was looking at it through different eyes, and I appreciate Greta Gerwig's movie making, so I liked the way this movie was made, and it was just fun. It was very fun, but it also had a distinct undertone that we could probably talk about.
All right, that's a interesting start. I'm not really sure. Griffin, how about you? You were second on the last one. Continue us on.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start off with the positive notes. I really liked the visuals and the color, and the costume design of it was all great. I think all the characters looked really colorful and really accurate to what Barbie represents and all the different Barbie characters. That's kind of where it ends for me. But, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it looks great. Well, I guess one other thing I did really like, Ryan Gosling as Ken was really, really driven the point home of how funny this movie was at some points.
Wasn't he a good Ken?
He was really good Ken. I think he was
I'm gonna argue about the name of this movie.
I think Ryan Gosling was built for this role.
Well, that would be a problem, I would argue, if the best part about Barbie is Ken. That would be
right.
You wouldn't want to say that. I mean,
well, that's the thing is, I felt like
the film.
I felt like Ken kind of overshadowed Barbie, which is not okay in their own movie. But I guess so. The parts I didn't really like was the whole real world to fake land Barbie land connection. Like the whole real world just felt so disconnected and felt so like especially with the Mattel characters, they just felt so characteristic and goofy, even though they were part of the real world, which kind of threw me out of it. And then
it's a very goofy movie. Yeah, it does not take almost anything.
Do you mean the dolls when they were in the real world, or the people that were living in the real world?
I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, G. You're talking about the Mattel owners.
Yeah, I think everyone at Mattel was super weird, and I don't think it.
Will Ferrell's people.
Yeah, Will Ferrell and his band, Merry Band.
Okay.
Yeah, they're real people. Why are they acting like dolls? Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Will Ferrell, but the thing is, it's just he didn't. It felt like he was just kind of shoehorned into this movie, and I feel like the movie wouldn't have been any different if he wasn't in it at all. But I think so. For besides that, I just also the plot I didn't really understand the whole time when I was watching the movie. I was very confused about how weird Barbie had different connections with their different hosts and how that even work and what does that even mean?
Yeah, physical mechanisms not very tethered in this.
Yeah, and I also don't really like Kate McKinnon, to be honest. I think she's not very funny.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think she's funny in general, but I thought Margot Robbie was great in it, obviously, but I think she just got overshined by Ryan Gosling. But I think she's still really good in this movie. But besides that, I think it was an okay movie. It was just a meh.
All right, we're starting a little mixed, I would say. Nicole, which way are you going to tilt us?
Oh, my word. I've been trying to formulate what I want to say in the most efficient way possible, but I hope that you listened to the last podcast episode about Oppenheimer, and something that Mama Kay said in that is spilling into this episode for me, and I'll bring back what you said. You had mentioned on your way home you were sitting in the car with absolute disdain and anger towards the film you just saw, and that was not the case for Oppenheimer for me, but my God, was that the case for Barbie.
Oh no.
This movie, I don't know why, but it made me feel fatter than I've ever felt before. Like, I was so angry. I was like, I need to fucking lose weight. I'm annoyed. It's hot. We had the air on setting 3 in the car, and I'm steaming out of the car. I don't know why this movie is getting so high of a rating. I do know why, but I don't know what I'm missing, I guess, is the question I have. Like, I think I might have laughed a collective 2.5 times during the whole thing. And you know what? I laughed at one of the scenes that nobody else fucking laughed at. So what am I...
What scene was that?
It's the scene where Barbie wants to move in with Ken or come into his house when he takes over her house when she's gone, and he says, "Can I have one moment, please?" And he walks in, he goes, "Sublime!"
Sublime!
My movie theater died.
One of the funniest things I've ever.
No one laughed at our theater for that line.
Nobody but me and Brennan.
Nicole and I laughed the hardest. That's the line that got me the hardest. Because I didn't. Yeah.
That brought down the house where I was.
Oh my God, no one fucking laughed. So if I...
Oh no, people laughed. People laughed a lot.
Well, yeah, no, but not at that scene. Yes.
Not at that scene, but they laughed a lot.
So I have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this. I'm sorry, everybody on here. I'm on my second espresso martini. I'm getting a little heated now. The crowd in this movie was an utter disgrace. Okay, I couldn't deal with the amount of people actually howling like wolves at some of these jokes, and I'm really pissed off at the way that this movie was presented in previews, because they couldn't have spoiled this movie any further than they did unless they showed the whole 2-hour movie in a fucking preview on TV. Every single funny moment was ruined and destroyed by the previews of this. We had the "oh my God, flat foot, bleh" moment in a preview. We had the "I'm gonna beat you off. No, I'll beat you off better" in the previews. These are the things that... Right. Yeah, well, these things could garner a laugh from me in the right setting, but if you shove that down my face for the 2 months prior to the movie, I'm not gonna fucking laugh when it happens in the theater. So that was already strike number 1.
Note to self: Nicole doesn't like beat-offs.
beach offs.
No, she doesn't like beach offs. Yeah.
Beach off. That's what I said.
Number 2, I am so sorry that this movie is so ruined by my theater experience. I wonder if this would be better suited for me at home, because it could have been because it was opening night. It could have been because the hype that this movie got. But there were individuals in this theater that, I swear to God, and I don't want to hurt your ears, so be warned, they were like, "How? Ha!" Yes. At the fucking worst times. And I think that there were some sort of, I'm air quoting, influencers in our theater, because they were filming themselves cackling at these scenes. And I'm like, these are not funny. These are childish jokes in an adult movie. And I know people like that, but I don't particularly care for that. So it really didn't fall on for me right. Like, I just didn't like those jokes. I thought they were too childish for what the movie was really trying to explain, which, as we talk about it further, what the underlying idea is about this movie, especially someone like Greta Gerwig making a movie like this. My favorite part about this is America Ferrera and her whole scene with her kid. I liked that more so that I would like that in a movie outside of the Barbie realm. I would rather watch America Ferrera be a mom to a kid who's sad in like I don't know, a school scene, like a school movie. I don't know. I wish that was taken away from this. They didn't mesh well for me. Yeah. So that part really, it just lost me. I didn't find any of that crossover funny. A lot of sexual innuendos. I heard from someone that I work with that there was a 10 to 12-year-old child that they brought with them, and the mom walked out halfway through with the kid because she thought it was that inappropriate. Okay. I don't think that's the case, but, that just says something to me. Even further into the movie that they walked out on could have been worse, I know there's a lot of politics going on right now about this movie. I'm very passionate about how I feel about this because I feel like I'm in that majority of the 6% that hated this. And I am trying the minority. Yeah, I'm trying to understand why there's so many people that did enjoy this and what you liked about it so that I can maybe better understand. But the politics of the movie really overtook what I agree with Griffin is a really beautifully made. It looks awesome. I love the nostalgia feel of it. I love the idea of the Barbie houses, the Barbie car, the building the wall upwards and not across. Like, I love that stuff about it. But all of that
was really good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. All of that is completely overtaken by my disdain for the message, I think. So I don't want to be Candace Owens on this. Please, I don't want to be her on this. I know there's a lot of things going on.
Yes, you don't hate this because you're conservative. Let's put that out there.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you are.
I'm not on that side for that reason. I really don't want anyone to think that about what I'm saying. I just wish this was something different. So that's my rant. And if you don't talk to me for the rest of the podcast, I'm okay with that. But oh my God, I hated this.
I agree with every point. So
yeah. So I go into Barbenheimer weekend, and we're gonna talk more about the phenomenon in the next one. But I go in optimistic, starry-eyed, very happy, excited. Auteur, I love Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach. We just did Oppenheimer, so I don't have to go on back about that. But I was just so excited. This is the first of the two we saw. And I was just ready to go. I was like, everything's going to get good reviews. Everything's going to make money. This is going to work for everybody. I was just sure, I didn't play Barbies, and it's Mattel, a product, whatever. The Lego movie worked, right? So this is and anything can work. This is a huge fucking mess, and it's kind of an entertaining one sometimes, even with a fuming Nicole next to you. But even still, it is. I want to be with the people who are loving this, and I can't really defend it. It's really mid. It's really mid. There are tons of things where I was like, it's mildly amusing. I probably only laughed a couple times. It's not the funniest movie. I don't really. It's not a needle mover for me one way or the other politically. I think it's pretty watered down, so I don't know. If you're getting mad at it for that, I think you are reaching, and I think if you think this is saying anything politically relevant, you're also reaching. This is it's pretty weak sauce, watered in, and I really thinking about the whole thing and what happened in the movie. What's the message? What are the arcs of the characters? I know it's a silly, nutty fest where they're beaching each other off. I know it's a silly movie, but I'm still looking for these are made by real people, so I'm looking for a structure. And the point of the movie, I guess, is everything seems perfect, and then you're questioning yourself, and things change. And it's okay, so love yourself because you're Kenuff. I just don't know if that seems really shallow, reductive, lazy, and lame for a 90% from a Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, Margot Robbie group of creators. I'm a little disappointed. It's not, but I'm. This is against a mountain of expectations, and big budget. All the advertising in the world, which I agree with Nicole, was detrimental to my enjoyment. I think tons of jokes would have landed better, and it might have helped set the tone, especially the first 10 minutes. It's all told and I knew the first total 10 minutes were coming. But yeah, mild disappointment for me, but I would still say on a binary good bad scale. It's good enough to like please. But I'm kind of upset that none of us are champions here. Okay, you might be the highest on it.
I might be the biggest champion of this, only because
Yeah.
I think that you're hampered by a PG-13. I mean, I shouldn't say hampered, but this is your crowd. So
You're tripling your box office by making like you need to. It's Mattel. Like this is a.
Oh, I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
My point is that your type of enjoyment of this movie is hampered by that.
I understand. I agree.
This is not made for you. I'm sorry. I am sorry that this movie's not made for you. Like so many other movies are made for you. This sounds
not
like
Christopher.
For
This sounds like you're still bitter about Oppenheimer, which is better. We're saving that. We're saving
bitter.
that for the next one. We're focusing on Barbie.
I need to.
I know, but as much as I'm just saying, the reason you didn't enjoy this is because this is not made for you. This is not made for me. I am way too old for this movie. This is not made for any of us. This is made for a crowd that is,
I might be in that demographic it's made for.
Yeah, that's my issue. My biggest issue of this whole movie was who is this made for? Because it's made for no one. That's what I'm thinking.
Made for. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus with this by saying this because people are going to take this the wrong way. But this is made for the Taylor Swift generation. Period.
I know, but like. I'm not saying we're like none of us are the stereotypical Swiftie, sure, but Griffin is a Gen Z and Nicole is a woman under 30. Like I would say that those are perfectly they should be appealed. And I am a film goer. 10 years
too old for the audience. At least 10 years too old. But, honestly.
No, that's my issue with the whole movie. The whole reason I'm a little confused is because I feel like this movie is made for no one. I feel like the target demographic is like from age probably 5 to early 20s, maybe 18, and then so I'm thinking this doesn't really match with any of like the whole movie throughout. It just doesn't match the tone of any form of what it is. If you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't feel like a kids movie, but it doesn't feel like an adult movie, but it doesn't feel like a movie for in between that kind of age group. So I don't really know who it's for.
I would have thought this is a movie made for women in their 20s and 30s living. No. It's for America Ferrera. That's the point of the movie. I thought like this is for America Ferrera, Greta Gerwig aged people, 30-year-olds.
No, I feel like it's for them as like it's for their younger selves. It's not for them as who they are.
I know, but
now.
it's for their younger selves. But like that's why they're that's why you would enjoy that.
If you look at the way that the Barbies are represented here, every single one of them is so self-absorbed and overly confident that I don't think that's how young girls felt playing with the Barbies, like from my point of view. Like I know for a fact that the people I know that were playing with Barbies at a younger age, and that was over like 25 to 20 years ago, we weren't saying like I'm thinking of the one part where Issa Rae she's the president and someone says to her, "You make a really great president." She goes, "Yeah, I know." And it's so like selfish and overconfident.
Yeah,
but that's not how people felt. That's not how little girls feel when they're playing that. And I just talking from self experience, it should be everyone is inclusive. Everyone is on the same wavelength here, and it shouldn't be, yeah, I know I'm better than everyone else. And that's exactly how not just Issa Rae comes off, but how Margot Robbie's character, main Barbie, stereotypical Barbie, comes off. And I don't like that that's the message that they're providing, which is how I feel about it, is saying, yes, I am better than everyone else. That's why I shouldn't change how I am. I should have stayed how I was. That's exactly what she's feeling. And if I'm missing the point of that, then,
I disagree with you a little bit there. And only because of one scene where she's in the real world now and she stops and she's sitting on a bus bench and she's sitting next to an old lady. And she says she's crying at this point. Ken has just gone off going to find his Kinergy, and she's sitting there with her, and she looks at her and she says to the woman, "You're beautiful." And the woman, I wish she didn't say it as confident. I understand what you're saying about the snarky confidence of it. It's a little off-putting. And And I think that is that by design? Is that like is that what the man-hating piece of this is because they're overly confident? Is that who they're...
I agree with you. It should have been,
You know.
I am beautiful.
And she says, I am. And I like the, not necessarily the tone of what happens. I like the interaction that happens there. So I think that she's a stereotypical Barbie. Yes, absolutely. But she is learning something. She doesn't go back, and I don't think she goes back as the same Barbie as she was before.
I tend to agree that she does arc, but like her arc isn't, it's not really like, I'm not convinced by her arc, because beginning everything's happy-go-lucky perfect, and then the inciting incident is when we learn this, we're in spoilers, America Ferrera has a daughter, and the daughter's going to school and like growing up, becoming more distant. And we see little flashbacks of the little girl playing with Ariana Greenblatt's character when she's younger, playing with Barbies, and we see the mother figure, but she's faceless and we don't really see her. And Nicole and I actually, like, we kind of co-called this. We both called pieces of it, where Nicole was like, oh, I bet she's the mom of the girl in the flashbacks, and America Ferrera is when we first see her, because we don't know that. And I'm like, I was agreeing with her, but in a different way. I was saying, yes, but I think the twist is America Ferrera is the one that Margot Robbie is here for, not the little girl. The little girl is Gen Z, too cool for Barbie. Barbie's lame and old. The mom is the one who has the memories. And of course, that's what it ends up being. Honestly, it's telegraphed and easy to see coming, but it is one of the better, like, actually, like, written moments. And the park bench scene, even like you said, like, is one of the more, like, this almost feels like another movie, because we're marrying up some of these more poignant, melancholy social commentary bits with the silliest crap I've ever seen, which is fine. I love kitsch. I love camp. It is a weird mix here, and it's not,
really
it doesn't work for me.
different films.
I don't know what's going on here, but like, and it might be Simu Liu, because Simu Liu runs me the wrong way. I don't really like him as an actor. Shang-Chi is what people know him as. Something about him in interviews too. He kind of bugs me. I don't know what it is. Like, someone tell me if they feel this too. But like when I see him talk, I'm just like, I don't know. He's something about Simu Liu bugs me when I see him.
I like him.
I'm bugged. He bugs me. No, like, I don't know.
I think he's a great Ken.
That might be. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe that works actually.
Ken, definitely.
I think he works as Ken totally.
He's very in this. He's very. I could see being entertained by it, and I wish I was more. But it was just. Like, I laughed at a couple things, and maybe it was the cross-arm Nicole they're weighing down a little bit.
I think I might have spoiled a little bit of your experience. I apologize. I see that in hindsight, but when I'm there, not enjoying myself, someone needs to know, and it just happens to be you.
I mean, there were times in this movie where people were howl laughing, and you, out loud, regular volume, give me a fucking break.
That would have been great to be a part of. I wish I was part of this in theater experience.
The guy next to me was definitely scooching away.
Nicole saying things like, "Oh, that's quite enough," when like a little girl would laugh.
That was so great. I wish I was
She's like anti-Barbie.
Like little girls would laugh at like the Kens flying across the screen, like super loud, and Nicole would just,
and now there's little girls sobbing in the Barbie movie.
I have no remorse about
Nicole
that.
lights a cigarette and pops her balloon on the way out with it.
We had some over-the-top laughers, too, but you know what? The part of this Barbie movie is, I mean, I know we're talking about Ken. I'm going to interrupt the Kenness for a second, the Kenergy. I think that it feels like, this is going to sound crazy, but like when Mamma Mia, the movie came out, there were just groups of women that went to go see a movie, and they were all, I mean, some people dressed up. This was that to the max. This was an experience. This wasn't just a movie for people. I mean, even here in Maine, it wasn't crazy, but there were people dressed up, and they were with their friends, and they were there to have a good time. And I mean, movies are supposed to be entertaining, right? So I think...
I pictured myself with my group of friends, and if we had gone to see this, and It's funny you bring up Mamma Mia because when the second one came out, I did go with a group of women. I went with my female family members. There was about 9 of us, and we went. We had a wonderful time. That was basically the experience. And this group of people...
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. I guess we enjoyed it because of the company. And
Exactly.
I do understand that with the girls that are going with their girlfriends and making a night out of it, dressing up, that's great. Maybe I'm just an old, hatchety woman that doesn't think that way, but if I had gone with my friends and I cackled that way, they would have looked at me like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, why are you laughing like that, you buffoon? And I wonder where the difference is. Am I just so cold-hearted that I didn't find that in this? Or do I think that they were way overplaying because they wanted to like this movie, because they were told they were going to like it, because they played with Barbies when they were younger, and now they're going to watch Barbie in real life? I don't know. I don't know if I'm missing that because I didn't have that nostalgia. But there's other things that Barbie's in that I really do enjoy, and we can talk about this later on, but... There's cameos of Barbie in other movies and animated ones,
Story.
That we can talk about in the future that I like quite a bit more because that's what it's supposed to be, as opposed to having 15 different Barbies that I'm trying to find the one that I like the most, or try to find the one, in my opinion, that's the least full of herself. And...
Midge.
Yeah, maybe I relate
Midge.
to the pregnant, discontinued one. I don't know. That they're so disgusted that she's standing there.
Did you guys recognize who that was? I'm assuming not. I'm probably the only one.
No.
Oh, yeah. No.
I've
seen her. And yeah. Oh, what's her name?
Well, she's not really. She's an actress sometimes, but she's known for being a director of one of my favorite films of the past couple years.
Is that Greta Gerwig in it?
No, it's Emerald Fennell, director of Promising Young Woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who I think was really
somewhere.
pregnant when they probably filmed this, because I remember her accepting her Oscar for a screenplay, I think it was, for that, and she was pregnant. I wonder if they filmed... I wonder if that was...
She's been pregnant for 3 years?
I don't know when... I imagine this wasn't filmed... I don't know. Maybe she had another kid.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know how long pregnancy lasts.
Oh my God.
I wasn't gonna...
They just stuff a pillow in the stomach a little, just to blow it up a little.
Oh, how long could pregnancy last?
that's a
5
big
years,
baby.
6 years?
I don't know how a woman's body works. I don't know about these things.
That baby came out in 3rd grade.
How much does a banana
Fangled
cost,
stuff?
Michael? $10? Yeah. Ken.
Okay, let's talk about... You were talking about Ken. Yeah, let's talk about Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
And
So,
Ryan Gosling as Ken.
Monica, you liked it the most. Did Ken work for you? Griffin, you said you liked Ken. You liked some of Ken?
Yeah, I like some of Ken. He's okay.
I like
Case
Beach
closed.
Ken. Yeah.
That's how I feel about this whole movie, though. It was just okay.
That's how me too. I know.
It's okay.
I liked Ken very much, and the thing is, we've talked about Ryan Gosling before. I can't remember in what we were reviewing, but you sort of made fun of me a little bit that I think of Ryan Gosling as The Adventures of Young Hercules. That's my Ryan Gosling.
Oh yeah, that is
point.
a bad take. Yeah, he's in a lot of great movies, and that's terrible.
It doesn't matter. Guess who he was in this movie? That's who he was in this movie.
That's terrible.
It's the same. I know, but I feel like he went back and lived his inner, like, he came to terms with his inner child playing Ken. Just like girls are supposed to, like, be part of their inner child or whatever, seeing this or older girls are supposed to see, part of their childhood in this Barbie movie. And I really think, and that's what nailed it for me, is that I cannot imagine anybody else playing Beach Clan, honestly. I don't think he overshadowed Barbie, but they sure did give him a lot of good stuff to work with. So
he's funnier. I mean, like, I don't know if overshadowed, like, Margot Robbie's tough to overshadow just because it's her specifically. I think if it had been any other, not any other, but most any other, like, but I get your point.
Yeah. There were other women that were supposed to play that Barbie. I think
Amy Schumer at one point.
Gal Gadot was one of them, and I'm like, oh wow, this could have really taken a turn in
man.
a different
Can
direction.
you imagine what a disaster?
Yeah. Amy Schumer also would have been a disaster in a different way. So
Well, that was supposed to be written by Diablo Cody, so that would have been a disaster in every way.
that would have been a different movie. What'd you think about the beach fight scene, Griff?
I did like the beach fight scene. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
That was a good scene. I like Ryan Gosling doing the dancing and the choreography dancing and like the suits.
The Bollywood.
See, this is a great example here. That scene where he's doing the choreographed dancing, like it's just like a charming, like fun scene. That elicited insane howling laughter from our audience. And that's a moment where like I am with Nicole and I look at her and I'm like, I am not the same species as the other things in this room because there's just no possible way. There's just no.
We are so superior.
I read a
funny fat guy fall. You know, it's like it's the same thing.
I just think that you have to take it for what it is. There's a lot of reasons. I can see where there's a lot of reasons not to like Barbie, quote unquote. And I get that because representation wise, people are like, she does not represent. Barbie started off as an incredibly unattainable physical goal for people. Forget about the fact that she walks on her tiptoes all the time. That's the least problematic thing about her. So that's always a problem. Even if she's President Barbie, if she's astronaut Barbie, whatever, she's still like 38, 14, 36. Nobody, Kim Kardashian maybe.
I love that you say that.
Real.
It's shocking to me to see a heavyset woman play a Barbie in this because it's not the representation of what Barbie always has been.
That Barbie doesn't exist. That's the thing.
Right.
She's in this movie and she exists in this movie, but there's never an acknowledgement that that's not a real Barbie. Like that Barbie does not exist. No.
The fucking pregnant one that got discontinued.
Yeah, I mean, probably for good reason.
I mean, if we're talking about unrealistic body standards, there are a couple plus-size women, but all the Kens, they are homogenized. They are different races, but they are all six-pack idiots.
Well, they have a closeted gay Ken, so,
Which
I mean, that's what the big deal is. Alan.
And Alan.
Oh, Alan's not
a Ken.
He's not a Ken. He's an Alan. He's
That's
the only.
why.
See, they can't even
That's
give
why
Ken
they
a homosexual character. They have to make him a different name because, God forbid.
I beg to differ.
Ken.
I believe that there are probably some of those Kens that were definitely.
I'm sure they're beaching each other off, but let me tell you what I think about Ken. Before we talk about Barbie more, because I feel like we need to discuss that more. But I agree with Griffin here. I think, unfortunately, as much as the opposite is supposed to be happening, I think that Ken stole the show in this movie because he is more entertaining. He does funnier things. He does goofier things that people can relate to more in the film. And those are the scenes that I laughed at the most, is the goofy things that Ken is doing and his total non-understanding of what a male's role is in the real world and coming back and thinking it's all about cowboys and horses. That's fucking hysterical.
The horse part was great. I love
it's the best.
What's the fact that patriarchy wasn't about horses? I kind of lost interest.
He has absolutely no idea what this is like in the real world, in the human world. And he thinks that's the epitome of masculinity, and that I love because it just goes to show the difference of what they're the directors and the writers of this are trying to explain. So I do agree that I think he stole a show. Unfortunately, it's called Barbie, but she to me is more of a write-off in the film. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, and it sucks because I was hoping it would be more focused around Barbie. Well, it is focused around Barbie, but I don't feel compelled enough to care about Barbie.
They didn't do it right, definitely. And I have one more unpopular opinion.
Only one.
I might get canceled from the rest of my lifetime.
Oh, no.
I think Ryan Gosling is very ugly.
Hashtag cancel Nicole on Twitter.
His face is
Oh my god, it's already trending on Twitter.
Thank God, I don't even have Twitter. That's pretty impressive.
It's trending on Threads.
On Threads.
Yep.
I think he played the role of Ken very well. I do. I think he was just comical at the right times and appealed to the masses that way. But I think there's a lot more attractive men that could have done that.
Well, I think this is Ryan. I mean, I don't find him to be particularly, he's not ugly, but I don't find him attractive either.
Really?
But I think this is him at his least attractiveness, honestly. I mean, it's the hair. Ken actually had brown hair most of the time. It wasn't until like 1992 Beach Ken where he ended up looking like this.
Well, that's why he is Beach Ken. He does beach, so
he does beach.
I know he's Beach Ken, but they chose Beach Ken for a reason. So I mean, maybe that's part of who they're picking for their audience. These are people who are nostalgic for the 90s. They're now women that are in their 40s. So I don't know.
I told you this is. I think that's who. I thought this was more for America Ferrera's audience of like the. And I haven't talked enough about her. I think she's like my favorite actress in the movie. Like her role is my favorite part. So.
Yeah,
I agree.
Love her. I like her role, but I don't like her portrayal, honestly. And I'm really disappointed at Baby Gamora. I don't like her coming off as a little cranky, whiny little bitch.
So.
She looks like she would play that role, though.
Yeah.
That actually was one of the parts you laughed at, Nicole. One of the 2.5, where Ariana Greenblatt basically shreds classic Barbie or whatever her name is, and then Margot Robbie's like runs away crying because she got her feelings hurt.
They're trying to show how different the culture is now in 2020s, and I feel like it truly misses the mark. But just to talk about America Ferrera real quick, I think she's one of the funniest actresses that's come around recently, and by recently I mean like the past 10 years or so, because I think she's very adaptable, she's very relatable, she's a humble person, her roles are always like she is the American woman, no pun intended, but like when one of our favorite shows is Superstore, and she is the main character in that show, and she is hysterical because she's relatable to a lot of different people for different reasons, and I think she brings that to this film too, where it doesn't matter if you are she is a person of color, and people can agree with her that way. She's a independent woman, and in a lot of roles that she does, she plays Ugly Betty. My God, she plays an ugly person that people don't appreciate. And when she gets put into a film like this, and she gets to have the arc, and she gets to be the one that has the ultimate punch at the end, like, that is special to me. And I really think that they did a great job casting her in that, because it feels the most relatable, more so than anything else in the movie.
I'm with you. When she's with the daughter and they're turning it around in their relationship and they're driving away, and then they decide to turn back with Alan, I'm like, why weren't these three we were following? Why weren't we following Ariana Greenblatt and America Ferrera and Alan somewhere else? I agree. Yeah, there was something suffocating about Margot Robbie and even Ken's over the topness. There's something suffocating about all that before, that when we get to the regular people, nothing more regular in the Barbie world than Alan, nothing more regular in the regular world than America Ferrera. It's just a breath of nice, good, fresh air. And we get that weird wall scene.
Maybe that's the point.
What?
Well, damn it, she just cracked the damn code.
What's the point? That everyone sucks except for Alan and America Ferrera?
No, but maybe that's the point, is that when... I mean, everyone agrees that Barbie's not real, and everyone agrees that Ken is not real, and...
Yeah, why is none of this a problem for you in this like, going
Well, the point of the movie is that Barbie is real... is the real person. She's the one that makes changes in her life, and she's the one that changes her outlook on life, because she met with the creator, and she met with Weird Barbie, and those are the women that she should be looking up to. So this movie is intending that Barbie is the real woman. And I don't agree
Well,
with that.
I don't know about that. I mean, the more we're talking about, the more I'm thinking that this little tiny movie within this is the actual movie, and everything else is just a way for that small piece of this movie to get where it got. And because I mean, you can say that Barbie arcs. I believe Barbie does arc, but she still goes back to this.
They go.
You know,
she goes right back.
But they have to. They have to land it safe at the end. They have to do a landing where Barbie isn't scrutinized too hard, because at the end of the day, Mattel is selling Barbies. So that is who's putting the money in the movie. That's what Greta and her husband get the big paycheck for. So that's what's going on here. So at the end of the movie, instead of having something
you're what
different,
you're saying, you're getting this is Greta Gerwig is a sellout. That's
I'm
what we
well.
that's what we're
I'm not sellout is a mean word. Adam Sandler is a sellout. Greta Gerwig is getting a good paycheck.
Well, this is what I think about that, and I agree. I think Griffin said this earlier. Like the whole Mattel Will Ferrell portion of this,
mm-hmm.
it's completely irrelevant, because I can see right through that this is Mattel's cash grab to make this movie. So let's have a Mattel-like corporation, the one that's trying to get her back in the box and all this stuff. And I don't think that's what the messaging is from this movie. And to have that in there, that was them saying, oh, you're going to use our likeness of Barbie? Well, in order to do that, you need to make us look like not such the bad guys. So at the end, we let them have their life, and Will Ferrell walks away and doesn't try to scheme or anything like that. And they have their own little quirky fun time together. So we're not that bad. You know,
they're not evil. We're buffoonish.
We're letting you make this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they can't be that bad because they're Mattel.
Yeah, they're Mattel.
Right there. But that's the workaround. You make it.
They
Will
are the
Ferrell.
patriarchy, but they're not Mattel.
Yes.
But they are Mattel.
The patriarchy. Any other? I mean, she goes to the gynecologist. That's the end.
There's a ton of stuff,
now.
but I think I think there's a ton of stuff, but I think it's going to go mesh well in the Barbenheimer episode.
Yes. So we're gonna put this discussion of Barbie. We're gonna put this discussion of Barbie to bed. Do we recommend it though? Mama K, Barbie.
I recommend Barbie.
Nicole.
I do not recommend Barbie.
Griffin.
Yeah. I would say I recommend it to a certain group that probably doesn't exist, but no, probably not then.
So you're not recommending Barbie, okay?
I like the way you think, Griffin.
Sounds like no.
I'm gonna give it a soft rec, because I do think I was debating about seeing it again before we had recorded this, just so I could get a non-cross-arm Nicole experience, because I do think that would make a difference. Having said that, it's not quite worth going back. I would rather watch Oppenheimer again. This is.
I did.
It's a mild disappointment, but I've said this about actually a lot of directors. Oh my god, this is Greta Gerwig's third movie. This makes total sense. I've said this about so many directors' third movies that I've loved in the past 10 years. It's my least favorite ever movies. It's still better and more interesting than the average movie you will find. So if you're doing this or random movie, I would recommend this. Yes. But it is a mild disappointment. And when we talk about it in comparison to Oppenheimer, it's not really a contest for me. But 2 recommends, 2 not recommends. We're split decision on Barbie. And I would say everyone sounds mildly, I don't know. This seems like a disappointment. This seems like a saggy 2 way.
It's a cluttered mess that we can't agree on, and I think that really speaks to the audience that went. What we talked about in the beginning, where we saw a range from 5-year-olds to 65-year-olds, and I think everyone got something different out of this movie. Whether it be, wow, that was cute because I love Barbie, or wow, that was a fucking mess. And it's really dependent on what you're trying to get out of this.
I think, and I know Griffin's filling in for Jess, and he's done an admirable job, but I think Jess would dislike both of these movies. I think Jess would hate both.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree
I
with
agree
me?
with you.
I think,
Yes.
I think Barbie is not her sense of humor at all, and she would think everyone's pretentious and annoying, kind of like Nicole does. And I think she would react to Oppenheimer like Mama K did. For those who haven't heard that podcast, go back and listen to Oppenheimer, because now is the fun little third part. We've got a third bonus episode coming where the four of us are going to discuss Barbenheimer. That's right, the phenomenon. Woo! Anything we left out of our discussions of Barbie and Oppenheimer, and perhaps other things related, other movies that are out right now, future Barbenheimer type things. I'm going to tease Saw Patrol right now. And we have other things coming up down the pike. If you have things to recommend to us, Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. As of this recording, we don't have a threads yet. I'll let you know. Thank you guys for being on for Barbie.
Bye.
Bye.
Maintain
Till next time.
energy.
Maintain the energy.
All right, that's enough. Until next time, this is Brennan signing off saying thanks for listening. Enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.